4, 3, 2, 1.
Hi, we're live here at Exodus Institute, 816 North Laramie in Chicago, Illinois, where we have Exodus Government People Corps. My name is Ed James, and I happen to have a lovely guest here this afternoon. And we're going to discuss some of the things and some of the issues that's going on in our neighborhoods, community, and the world. And maybe how we can solve some of these health problems that we happen to be having, and some natural things that we may be able to do and get away from some of the pharmaceutical stuff, and how to eat better, some of those things and those issues. So I happen to have Ms. Denise here with me this afternoon, and we got the one mic, this cord on it and everything, because our number one lead photographer or video person isn't here today, so we're going to have to talk on this mic, and we're going to have to share. So thank you, and I'm going to give the mic over to Ms. Denise.
That won't ever be a problem. I'm accustomed to improvising.
Okay, very good.
Especially in front of the television camera.
All right.
But my name is Denise Mack. I'm the vegan chef. Basically, my ground zero is here in the state of Illinois, okay. But I travel, wherever there's a need. Yeah. Because my targeted audience is anyone with a mouth that can consume.
They need to be fed.
They need to be fed.
All right.
On a multitude of levels, and that's inclusive of your pets. Because oftentimes we forget about our pets and we just figure, well, it's just a pet. I'll just feed them whatever, but they have feelings.
And we feed them from the table. We got the dogs sitting back eating macaroni and cheese and grain and everything. That we give them whatever it is that we want to just get rid of, instead of throwing it away. And we say, come on here, Fido, we're going to give you this. And we're messing our pets up. That's hurting their bodies and different things. That's why they're coming up with diabetes and arthritis and all kinds of stuff, man. Having a hard time because they can't sit back and tell you what's actually hurting or going on that's bothering them at that time. But I want to find out about this vegan stuff. It's a little bit different than just being a vegetarian. Isn't that hard to prepare and all of that stuff?
Well, I don't buy into the hard to do anything because it starts with a choice. And once you've made a choice that you want to do different as far as yourself, because ultimately it's a spiritual journey.
Okay.
And on that spiritual journey, it involves a number of things.
Yeah.
And one of the first things is getting back to self. Okay. And when you get back to self, you begin the journey that way. Because within self, there's who? Our Creator, our God, our Buddha, our Jehovah, our Yahweh, whatever you choose to identify that deity as, we're still talking about that same source.
Heal thyself.
Heal thyself. You're absolutely right. And when you're looking at that, to your point of the various terms of vegan, vegetarian, lacto-vegetarian, pescatarian, let me just say this. A vegetarian is one who eats vegetation. Okay. And see, that's not something that you can be, it's something that you do.
All right.
So that's first and foremost, because ultimately the choice is, are you going to live naturally? Then you become a naturalist. Living a natural lifestyle, of the earth. Now the term vegan came about when they started mixing and matching from a marketing standpoint to sell products about vegetarian and lacto-vegetarian, pescatarian. All of that ultimately are just marketing terms that were created to sell products. Okay, at a higher price point.
Yeah.
While at the same time still giving people, an outlet where they still are attached to meat products. Because if you're going to eat vegan or if you're going to eat vegetarian, it's the same thing. It's one who eats vegetation. Technically, there is no difference. But it has been a difference made between the two because of that, and that's where the term vegan comes from. But again, understand, it's not something that you are. Nobody is vegan. Nobody is vegetarian. You eat vegan and you eat vegetarian.
So that you would say that we want to know now, vegetarians, they may eat eggs or something like that. Vegetarians don't eat?
It's one who eats vegetation. You can't grow an egg out of the ground. That's an unborn chicken.
Uh-oh. I've been messing up then.
That's an unborn chicken. Right.
Well, since you said that, now what about all this food that they say Beyond Meat? They got Impossible Burgers. There's a few other things, and they're supposed to be made by plants. You know, but I'm not too. I don't see that coming out quite like that.
Well, let me enlighten you a little bit. The reality of those things, they are better than eating a defenseless animal. Okay? Let me say that. They are better. But ultimately, they are processed vegan foods, period. And a number of those are not technically 100% plant-based.
Right.
Because you have this thing called GMO. You have this other thing called chemically treated.
Right.
And when you get involved with that, it takes it out of its natural state. Now, it may have started the way that it should,
Right.
but because of the chemicals, and if you have any, even if it's a mustard seed of a chemical,
Okay.
it's no longer vegan because you've taken it out of its natural state. Again, vegan and vegetarian is vegetation is that's of the earth. So if you take that's of the earth, and the minute you combine it, you compound it with anything that is beyond, outside of being naturally occurring, or you may hear the term organic chemical compound, it's no longer natural.
That don't sound
You know what I
too
mean?
good.
Because you do have chemical processes that happen, that occur naturally in nature. And that's what they mean when they say an organic chemical compound, meaning it's naturally occurring. But then you have the term that you would see that would say inorganic chemical compound. That's laboratory treated. And it's basically man-made.
Man-made.
So when you see the Impossible Burger, when you see the Beyond Meats, when you see a number of the Morning Star, you see the Gardein, all of these are just processed vegan foods. They are not, let me repeat, they are not 100% plant-based, because the minute you freeze it, it's dead. So let's say that if the Beyond Meat, let's take the Beyond Meat, that's one of the more popular ones.
Right.
Once it's frozen, it's dead, because if you go to a farm and you go during the harvest season, and a lot of your viewers that are watching that may be from the South or familiar with how, just agricultural science or just life on a farm.
Mm-hmm.
And during the time of harvest, you go out and you've got your yield, and you're just getting your barrels, whether it be your apples, your wheat, your corn, or whatever that resource is. And the minute the frost hits any of it, what the farmers will do, that's usually left on the ground, because it's no good once it's frozen.
It changed the chemical makeup.
Exactly, it's dead. It kills it, because the enzymes are not there like they were. So they leave it on the ground so it can go back into the land. It becomes fertilizer or food for either
all the
animals.
vitamins and the fortified stuff that is.
Once it's frozen, it is dead. Okay? So that's just like if we took a banana. And I'm quite sure a lot of you all go to a lot of these juice bars and they're pulling all their fruit out of the freezers.
Yeah.
You need to run, because it's dead. And they're charging you $10 and almost $20 to get a 12-ounce drink that claim to be fresh. But the minute it's frozen, it's dead. Now, but here's the thing. Here's the caveat. Okay? You put the banana in the freezer. It's dead, right?
Right.
So if you consume it, it's not going to do anything for you, but it's not taking away anything either. You just got some good taste in bulk. If the food was grown right to begin with, because there is a thing called GMO seeds, that the food is contaminated at the seed state from the injection of the Roundup and the injection of the pesticides. So it's lost at the seed stage. But let's say that you get beyond that. The seed is pure and it grows. You're at your harvest point and you're going to market. But then you got the pesticides during the transportation process.
Right.
Okay, and sometimes when it actually hits the grocery stores, they're spraying it for bugs. So it's kind of like you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because everyone is so attached to these chemicals.
So we need to start
Growing the food in the backyard and wherever we possibly can to get this natural product for ourselves. And I remember when I was a young man, we used to have greens and string beans, tomatoes, onions, and all of that growing. We had a lot next to the house. And we go out there and pull stuff up and grab it and eat. I'm here in the city of Chicago. We got some lots here that we could actually grow some food up on and take care of ourselves. So we really need to go back to preparing and doing for ourselves.
Go back to nature. But one of the first things you need to do before you even contemplate on getting a seed, you need to check your soil. Because see, that's the bedrock and the foundation of it all. Because the microbial life within the soil, and it has nothing to do with tilling the soil. We need to stop tilling the soil. I don't know where the heck that came from to do that, but you kill off the microbial life by exposing them unnecessarily to the harsh elements, the sun, and a number of things. You're ultimately uprooting the home of that microbe, that's there. You see, the soil is the key. The soil is the baseline. And so if you start planting, you go in your backyard and you don't do anything to check the foundation first, the likelihood when you grow the food, something is still going to be off. So there are just certain things, certain steps, strike all of that. There's certain cycles that we are overlooking, as people, largely because we truly, out of all of these hundreds of years, we still have missed the boat of how we need to be treating the food. And it doesn't start with the seed, it starts with the soil. And we got to begin to nurture that.
And we'll be right back. Give us 1 minute. We're going to take a break and we're going to change something here.
Okay.
A very nice day here in Chicago. This is the first day of summer out here, and you were giving us some wonderful information about how to not till the land so much. Be careful where you're sitting back trying to grow these things. I can recall people used to go down south. I don't know if it was Alabama or Mississippi, but they were down there talking about eating dirt. That's how good the dirt was down there. The soil was rich and things down there at that time. But we didn't do too bad here on the south side of Chicago growing those greens because, matter of fact, we did do something. We would blanch the greens and different things and freeze it, for certain things, just so that more could grow and the family would come and get what they need and go. But we had that, and we've gotten away from it because of all these old food stores and different things popping up in the area. And like you said, now this GMO stuff is out here that took over the majority of the land of all of this food we happen to have. So everything that we're basically eating has some bad chemicals off up in it anyway. And by you having this vegan food that you're sitting back feeding and doing for the people, and do you do classes where you teach how it's prepared, how they can make it at home? And is it good for somebody like me? I'm like 71 and my taste buds ain't, that's been a long time I've been on some of this stuff now, so elaborate on that if you can, because it's hard to get us off that stuff we've been on.
Well, just again, I guess we're going to be myth busters today, for naturalism when it comes to consumption. But yes, you can, and you're absolutely right. When you go back to the South, that red soil is still there. It's still rich, and all of the people that I know from the South, and that's inclusive of my family, well, a portion of my family, all of them ate that red dirt.
Okay.
You know, and there are a lot of nutrients, there are a lot of vitamins, there are enzymes, and like I say, the microbial life.
Right.
This is how our harvest becomes the actual harvest. Without that, you wouldn't have the harvest. And then with some of the soil life, like our worms, we couldn't even live on this planet if the worms disappeared, you know?
Right.
And a lot of people are just not understanding that, you know? So when you come through the tilling machines and a number of other tools that people utilize when you're talking about gardening or farming, you really don't know how you disrupt the life forms that are there for that purpose to bring forth even more life in the form of our crops. And what we have to get back to is getting our hands dirty, getting our knees and our feet dirty, and going into those fields, into our yards, barefoot into the soil, because this body is earth. So when earth connects with earth, that's two different intelligence that are combining as one, and you wonder why there's such an exuberance that go through you, you know, when you're out there in the land, when you go, perfect word, you're grounded. So it happens for real. So, but with the blanching is great. Like all of your nuts, your seed, you should blanch them all before you consume, because it needs that water, and the body requires that as well. But
So just soak them overnight, or?
you can soak them overnight. Like, for example, let me back up a little bit, because I'm giving a lot of information. I don't want to lose anyone. When you look at, let's say, your lentils, and you have your lentils, let's say your nuts that you have, especially your almonds, because just like humans being pieces of creation, right? We're being a part of the earth. So is the vegetation, your greens, your beans, and other forms that you pull as food to consume. Oftentimes, it's like we have defensive mechanisms. You know, we may have a gun on our side as a defensive mechanism. With our plant life, they have defense mechanisms as well, and they communicate just like we communicate. It's a whole language that happens.
You tell me them plants you talking about?
Oh, absolutely, they do. And oftentimes we smell it, and we don't even realize what we're smelling. You know, even right before it rains, there's a certain smell that comes into the air. That's from the plants emitting and
So you know when we cut that grass and it be smelling all fresh and good like that?
Defense mechanism, because you're coming through with a razor, they're under attack. And
we messing it up.
There you go. You know, because the natural order of things is for it to just be, to grow in its natural element, you know, just as wild as it would, then it germinates, it goes to seed, then it starts over again.
And I'm sitting back and I like that smell of that fresh cut grass. I can just lay out there in that, thinking that I didn't shut up here and did something because it started looking pretty, but I didn't actually kill the life form of this grass. And it's,
it defends itself.
Right.
You know, but we have the comfort of a manicured garden, but that's not the natural order of things, you know. But it is as it is. This is what we do. So I'm not here to say stop cutting the grass. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying understand what you're actually doing, and that's the purpose of a lot of the soaking that I'm referring to. Because just like with your almonds, you see that dark coating in the bottom of stores. You know, that dark coating has a naturally occurring organic chemical compound, which is a defense mechanism for that almond. So when you soak it, what happens is it allows for that life form, that almond, to do like you do when you soak it in a bathtub. Become relaxed and allow those natural oils and enzymes and nutrients to become released. And what happens when you soak it, that coating comes off. It comes off, and that almond becomes tenderized. You've seen it, and they call it blanching. You know, but you're actually soaking and allowing for an oxygenation process to happen with it that only makes it easier, brings an ease over the body with the digestive tract, and it's not harsh on your intestinal tract. Whereas you have some people may have heard of, and this is a whole other conversation, but you may have heard of the term leaky bowels, you know, syndrome. You know, a lot of that comes from that. A a lot of the roughage that we consume. And what happens is not the almonds per se, but you'll get it a lot from like your cashews, your peanuts, your legumes.
Okay.
You know, and they'll, because the texture is so thin that comprises of your intestine, it rips little small holes as it's digesting through.
So, when you mentioned the legumes, there's a Morning Star you mentioned. They have a black bean burger. And with that black bean burger, is that good, or do they blanch it and do all of that?
Well, let me say this. You gotta understand, you're still talking about processed vegan food. By no stretch of the imagination is processed food good for human consumption. Let me say that. But at the same time, the vegan processed foods are better than going to a fast food and someplace else eating a dead carcass on any level. It's better, but that's only for so long. You still need to have as many live foods as possible of your fruits, your vegetables, your seeds, your grains, your oats, and others alike. And see what people fail to miss. For example, and put it to the test. I tell people all the time, don't take my word for anything that I'm saying. Test it out for yourself. And one of the tests that you can make, and I'll give you two. First and foremost, what I would like for people to do is take a piece of chicken, whether it's a chicken wing, chicken leg, or whatever it is, or lamb. You choose the animal. Take a small pot, put it in water, and boil it on top of the stove, and don't season it. What you will find is that you fill the house with such a stench, you'll be like, damn, the hell is cooking in there, right?
Okay.
And then what I want you to do after it's done, attempt to consume it. It's gonna taste like wood. And you're gonna be like, man, it's bad cooking. But what's happening is the body innately craves for those natural foods. So therein lies where the term seasonings come from. People, they go and they get, still processed most times, they go and get their seasonings of their garlics, their herbs, and other plant life to season the food, to bring out the taste, but in essence, it's not bringing out the taste. It's giving the body some resemblance of those natural ingredients that I'm talking about that it needs in order to do as it needs to do. The body was not designed for that. We just, because of times, we chose to consume that because of the times.
So do you use that tofu, or what's another one, tempeh, or whatever?
They have a number of things. You have tofu, you have tempeh. You have, God, it's so many. You have pum fu. There are a number of them. I can go down the list. But when you look at tofu, here's the thing with tofu. Tofu are soybeans, okay? Soybeans that have been juiced.
Okay.
And when I say juiced, meaning they put, just like in any other vegetable juice, you put the beans in one end, it abstracts the juice from it, henceforth your soy milk.
Okay.
Okay? And then the pulp that's left is compressed of all of the water content and compressed into those blocks that we see. Now, prior to that, what they would do, there's another food that they pull from that called bean curd. Okay? And the way that they do that, they would take the soybeans, just like you would cook any other bean, and you know how the curd, when you turn the beans off from the fire after you've been tenderized and they're soft enough for you to chew, and you let them sit, and the curd, that film that forms across the top of the pot, that's the curd. And what they do, they take the curd, that skim off of the top, they hang it dries, and then they season it, and it's really, really delicious if you know what you're doing. But that's ultimately how they get the bean curd. And this is how you're able to get, on one level, your vegan fish, because it has a texture like fish.
Oh, okay.
You know, because it's curd, it's real thin, just like fish, it's real thin. You know, and you're able, most people fry it up, they'll season it, or sometimes they'll just eat it raw, you know, in a salad. but it doesn't technically have a taste. So the taste is of what you make it to be. But with pum fu, which in my pum fu is made from sunflower seeds. No, excuse me. I misspoke. Pumpkin seeds.
Okay.
Made the same way. They're juiced, they're compressed. The extracts are pulled and it's on one side, and then the pulp that's left is compressed into those of all the water, and it's now in the form of that block. And you're able to cut it, dice it, slice it, season it, and you can utilize it in place of any meat. And it's more nutritious than the soybean.
Okay.
It's more nutritious than the tempeh, and a number of them, because they're pumpkin seeds, and the pumpkin seeds are loaded down with just, man, 1,000,001 nutrients. I'm exaggerating on 1,000,001, but it has the protein, it has the fiber, it has everything that people in their perception look for in eating meat. And then some, and it's very...
So you cook with all these seeds and...
Absolutely. I either cook or I eat them raw. I've moved this year into eating raw food. So I would be identified as a raw foodist at this point. Because 99.9% of my foods are raw. I don't utilize a stove per se.
Okay.
And there are foods that your grains, your oats, that are dried foods, which will require some hydration. I may heat water, or sometimes I may have to boil the water to add to that, to soften it, to tenderize it, and then I season it to whatever taste that I'm looking for at that time, whether that be in the form of a taco salad, whether that's in the form of a meatloaf, whether that's in the form of a lasagna,
So
whether it's
you
form of spaghetti.
make all...
Anything that you eat, I can make at least 20 dishes from what you have of that one that are natural, whether they be cooked or raw. So people look as, well, you're so limited if you're going to go natural and just eat only natural ingredients, and that's an understatement. There are like 1,000,001 different platforms on this earth. How many animals do you eat in the run of a 30-day process?
Ooh-wee.
You see the difference? And then they say, well, it's too expensive. No.
Do you make, any of these things come Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, there's a dish that a lot of the families like to have. And
Turkey dressing.
Turkey dressing and all.
I can make
chitlins.
If you're looking for chitlins, the bean curd would do for you. That would be the chitlins. If you're looking for your dressing, it's the same thing. You make your cornbread, or you can utilize couscous. Couscous is a wheat grain. Okay. There's your crack wheat that you're able to utilize. There's your bulgur. There are just a number of different things that you can utilize to create your dressing, or you can just do it the old-fashioned way, hot water cornbread.
Yeah.
Because it's corn.
Right.
And you add your sage, you add your onions,
You put some hot peppers in it?
I'm not a spicy food eater, but absolutely it can be made like that. Okay. You can put your mushrooms in it if you're a mushroom eater. I mean, it's just up to you. You create the flavor according to your palate.
I'm sitting up here right now.
I got the family dinner together for Thanksgiving. We gonna sit back and get all this stuff together. I gotta get that recipe for the chitlins, because I still got some chitlin eaters in the family. I gotta get that one down pat so that we can stop some of this high blood pressure and diabetes and different things with the ingredients that you're gonna teach us how to get. Is there any way that, is there a restaurant that you have? Is there a menu that you have online? So can you get that information out?
Oh, absolutely. We're in the process now from COVID. We were shut down during COVID. And what we created was our digital store called Your Wellness Store. And so all of our products are online. We are set up as wholesale and distribution. You're able to buy in bulk. We have 24 products that were created by myself. I'm the founder.
Okay.
My brand is The Vegan Chef. But we've created products from we got the Vegan Chef cooking oils. We have a body and face scrub. We have body oils and bath oils. We also have various teas because the name of the company is Creative Tea. And you're able to get your loose leaf teas. You're able to get your pre-mixed teas. And the beauty of all of our products, because we also have foods, and yes, there is a menu. It's a full menu from your entrees. There are 12 different entrees. There are 4 different sandwiches. There are 4 different stuffed salads. And we have an assortment of a number of teas that you're able to get. But in addition to that, which is more valuable, because you're right, you have a number of people that have been diagnosed with hypertension. They have diabetes, they're MS, you have renal failure, whether it be total renal failure or partial, where your kidneys are shutting down. You have individuals with arthritis, you have erectile dysfunction, you have vaginal dryness, you have eruptions on the skin. I can go down the list. And guess what? We have blends that have been created by the vegan chef, and forgive me if it sounds like I'm talking in third person. It's just that I understand the vegan chef is a brand.
Right.
It's not who I am. This is just what I live.
That's right.
Okay? So it's a part of me. It's innately in me. And then within these blends, what we've created are compounds, whereas you're able to eliminate hypertension, whereas you're able to eliminate situations where you have people that have been diagnosed
So
and
they
the blood
can
doesn't
get
flow.
off of some of that
Ain't no
big
getting
pharma.
off. You can listen to the term. Eliminate. It's not a
Eliminate.
treatment. Eliminate.
Eliminate.
This is a journey
Okay.
for elimination. Cures.
Yeah.
But you have to choose it because nothing is a quick fix. He's not going to be here today, gone tomorrow. It's a lifestyle shift that you have to choose that you're going to do and travel on that journey infinitely. And you can eliminate 99.9% of everything that you've been diagnosed with. And with us, we do have a wellness center, and yes, we do teach the classes. We have cooking sessions that you can sign up for. We have juice blending sessions that you're able to sign up for. We also have tea blending sessions that you can sign up for,
So
as well
when
as
you say sign
don't
up-
forget the yoga classes.
When you say sign up, is there a fee that we have to?
Oh, absolutely. These are all services. Within these services, there are a host of things that we give away, just like this information. I impart information for free at all times. I'm constantly giving, and I remain in a state of gratitude, in that giving, and it always comes back in abundance in various forms. Henceforth, how I'm even sitting here with you today.
Okay.
With the founder of the Exodus Institute,
Yeah.
we embarked upon a conversation in wellness when we were talking about something entirely different, but it spilled over into that and opened up this opportunity for me to continue to share, with those that are viewing and those that are sitting and watching what we're doing.
I have a major problem here.
Because our youth, I sat back, I babysit my grandbabies, and I have sat back and I have made these wonderful meals. I fried up some chicken and everything, and then I steamed some vegetables for them and everything. And then I said, okay, you all can eat. They said, okay, which McDonald's we going to? They wanted none of it. We got to get you for that. And we have a question in the audience.
Yeah, I got a question I want to ask Denise.
Okay.
What is a good source of protein in vegan options?
Well, in reality, just about everything that grows out of the earth is protein. It
Wow.
has a level of protein that's there, contrary to what society has shared with us with the nutritional pyramid and a number of other the nutritional facts that they provide through your hospitals and your clinics, when in reality, it's way more protein out there than what's expected. And the protein can come through something as simple like I shared from pumpkin seeds. It's loaded with protein. Your almonds loaded with protein. And one of the biggest things that our brother here talked about, your greens. You can go and eat your kale greens, your collard greens, your chard, and all protein. There's even protein in various fruits.
Okay.
You know, that you're able to get this from, and a lot of people totally miss that. So if you remain as close to nature as possible, but more importantly than just staying as close to nature, because our foods have been tampered with in such a traumatic way, I encourage people, start taking your time and going to the grocery store, any marketplace or restaurant, any place that you're going to consume anything, and begin to read the ingredients. And if the words are too big, put it down. If you can't open your smartphone and find it, leave it alone. But more importantly, if it's just way too many ingredients in it and you just can't pronounce a damn thing, run.
Get
It's
away
not
with her.
for you, because the likelihood that there's chemically treated, you run the risk 10 years down the road, you're like, man, where's the renal failure coming from? I exercise every day.
Right.
I'm drinking my alkaline waters. I'm doing this, and you got a whole army grocery list of things that you do that are associated with physical training, PT, like in the Army.
And it's getting younger.
You're still
You're still
getting
younger.
sick, and it's getting younger. And that's largely because you got a lot of these, I like to call hidden predators. These hidden MSGs, these hidden chemicals, and a number of other things. For example, if you see the term protein isolate, that's not protein, people. Or you see chickpea isolate, that's not chickpea. It's chemicals. Those are MSGs. Those are preservatives that they put in the food to make it last longer on the shelf, so they can save and sell more products, but it extends the life on the shelf. But what it does, it retards the system incrementally over a long period of time. So when you reach the age of what folks may say maturity, you're like, man, why am I aching so? Or you go and you feel fine one minute, you take a shower in the morning, and then by the time you get to the car, you're lackadaisical and you really don't want to do anything, and you haven't eaten nothing. But when you look at the lotion that you put on your skin, the soap that you use to bathe, and the toothpaste loaded down with fluoride and other chemicals that you should not have in your system, you wonder why you're just out of sorts when you felt so exuberant when you were waking that morning. So again, you got to take the time to read. The grocery store is my happy place. I love the grocery stores and the marketplace, and it takes me a minimum of 2 hours, and I'm a seasoned individual in this, and I still take the time because people do things, especially, in the back of post-COVID. People are trying to gain at every stretch of the imagination. You may have one food that has it the right way, but you go the next month and it's just not there anymore.
You know, I'm glad you mentioned
Hopefully that answers this question.
Yes, that answered my question. Yes.
some of the fruit. I remember I used to bite an apple and could go around and eat this apple, and it would be all nice and maybe shiny and pretty. They're still shiny. They seem to have a little wax or something on them, and they still shine and everything. And then when I bite in it, that first bite, I said, this isn't right. And then I look at it, and it started turning brown before the second bite.
Yes.
And now they got all this seedless watermelon, seedless grapes, seedless, and I thought we needed the seed for the stuff to regrow.
Well, I'm going to take our Republicans' term. Fake food, people, is fake.
Yeah.
There's nothing seedless about fruit.
Right.
The fruit that bears seed, so shall you eat. If it is seedless, again, let me say the term again, run. It's not real. It's been altered. And this is what I meant when I say the chemicals and the GMOs, they are altering the foods from the seed state. It is not a natural occurrence for you to bite into an apple or any fruit and there's no seed, because it needs the seed. It's just like us. It has the same reproductive system that we have. So if you take away the seeds that I have, the seed that you have, you're not going to reproduce. So what do you think is going to happen with that fruit? You take
I
away,
realize that.
it's not going to reproduce.
I got a question from the audience.
Yes,
So you said seedless grapes are not good for you?
it's not fake food.
It's not real.
Fruits have seeds, just like an avocado. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. It's like a tomato. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. It's seeds. That's how you're able to differentiate between your vegetables. Usually, it's not 100%. It's 99.9% that you're able to differentiate the fruit and the seed.
If it don't have
The
a
fruit
seed,
and the vegetables, excuse
if
me.
it don't have a seed, how is it being reproduced? Is it?
It doesn't. That's what I'm saying. They've taken it. If you remember when we first opened the show and I was talking about an organic chemical compound which is naturally occurring in nature.
Okay.
And then you have the inorganic chemical compound which is lab created.
Okay.
Same thing. So when you have your seedless grapes, you have your seedless nectarines, tangerines, oranges, and the worst, the seedless watermelon.
Oh, yes.
Understand,
You can't even spit the
a
seeds out on the
scientist
kids.
has been
Anybody
involved
that-
with the growth of
Tastes
that
like
particular
rubber.
item, and it's not real. It's fake food. So what you will find, one of the first things that you usually would get, some effects behind consuming that is with our bodies. I like to call it our body's toilet. Okay? And when I call our body's toilet are your kidneys, your spleen,
Okay.
you know, your liver, right? Your pancreas. This is how our body throws off all of that that's no longer needed. Okay? So usually when you consume that, those organs, our filtration system, are usually the ones that are affected because they're the ones that's breaking it down for the body, you know, to pour all of the nutrients
That's
from.
why all these dialysis centers are opening up over here.
Ding, 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 ding. Somebody got the message.
I have a question in the audience
Another
already.
question?
Yeah, I was wondering like, how could you tell from real food from the fake?
Well, one of the things, it says seedless.
Okay.
Just by it saying seedless, yeah. You know, because what we have to understand, you know, our agricultural industry has been under attack in plain sight for decades, and people have not paid attention to it. And, you know, largely because it came under the mask of capitalism. And as you know, we're all capitalizing, you know, if you're in business, and even when you're not in business, you're capitalizing for your household or your investments, right? And where it, from my understanding, and if I'm off, somebody please reach out to me and give me proper information. But let's take the GMO, one of the biggest chemicals out there that's really just throwing folks off, shutting kidneys down. Our women are having miscarriages. I even had a miscarriage as a result of it. And you just have a number of just things that are happening. And I'm gonna call them things because the name that I normally would call it, I won't say it here on this show, but it's attacking our bodies. And what's happening with that, it came under the guise of relief. And I'm quite sure a lot of you remember when we had the hunger crisis here in America, and we had the relief programs to feed the hungry some decades ago. Remember all of that? We were trying to figure out how are we going to feed the American people? You know, our surplus is so depleted. You know, we don't have enough to take care of our people, and we got the homeless. Everybody, we got to feed the hungry, feed the hungry. It came under a guise like that. And the company, you know, that did it, well, I won't even name the company right now,
Okay.
but the creator of the GMO seed, I'll just say that. The creator of the GMO seed came in capitalizing on crisis because, as you know, chaos is a business, and it's a very lucrative business, especially here in the West, but all around the world. Chaos is a business. Chaos and confusion is a business. And that relief was a part of chaos and confusion. And what they came in with was, we have a way to replenish the surplus of our food in America. And when they came in with that and they offered up these seeds, and they offered it up, one, they were offering to give it for free. Then after that, they were offering it at a cheaper price than what you can buy any seed that was on the market at that time. And when they did that, what happened was the farmers, as you know, farmers, they're, salivating, it looks like, wow, we're able to get these seeds, at the cost point, they were able to get these seeds. And they got the seeds and they started planting, they were harvesting, and they went to market and they began selling these products. And the products were in some of everything, fast foods and everywhere.
I want to elaborate on some of the things that she just said. You all can look this up yourself. There was a movie, came out in 1971 or 74. I think it was 1974. It was Charlton Heston and Edward G. Robinson. And it was called Soylent Green.
Absolutely.
And in Soylent Green, it says, the year is 2022, New York City, and everybody was fighting for this food, which was Soylent Green. And it was a man-made food, like something like this GMO stuff that we're going through right now. But this man-made food that they were eating, and they were processing, people were fighting to get in places, they were rioting for it. Now, bear in mind, this was in 1974. They said the year is 2022 in New York City. I'm not going to tell the basis of it, but I think we all need to go and look at that movie once again. It's called Soylent Green. And there's a gentleman by the name of Piney Piper. And this white guy looked like a farmer. And he's speaking about this Soylent Green in 2022, talking about how you might as well go to a printer and print your food out now. He said because everything that you're actually eating is pretty bad. And you can go on YouTube and find him. His name is Piney Piper, because everything that we actually have out here and what they're selling us or giving us is not any good. So we need to learn these things. And I got a gentleman in the audience that he does some things similar to you. He goes in the sea and grabs some stuff called sea moss.
Absolutely.
Can you know about the sea moss?
Alga. Yes, the alga.
You got a product on that sea moss too, don't you?
I just make it. I make it for people.
He makes it. We can eat it and
You can drink it, smoke
drink it.
Yeah, put it in pill form, take it in pill form.
And so, can you elaborate on sea moss and let the people know about this sea moss stuff?
Yes, sea moss is a superfood, let me say that.
All right.
And sea moss is a very powerful superfood, and it's a superfood that I consume on a daily basis. And it's rich in just some of everything. And again, you had a question earlier about fiber. It's loaded down with fiber. Not fiber, protein. Even though it does have fiber, but it is an alga. Something
protein
that you're able to consume. And those individuals that have been diagnosed with anemia, being anemic. Anemia, I said it right. This is something that you're able to consume, with beets and other algas,
right.
Chlorella, spirulina, all of those are algas.
So all that's in sea moss?
No. Sea moss is one. I just named some others that are algas as well. That are rich. That comes from the sea, comes out of the water. And oftentimes, sometimes the sea moss, you're able, technically it's on the shorelines. It's not an underwater moss. It grows along the shoreline, but it's there in the sea, and it's cultivated, there, it's harvested there. People take it, they dry it, they mill it, and they're able to sell it, and even when it's in its powder form, and the minute it comes in contact with water, it begins to go back to its natural way of being. It starts absorbing that word and becomes sponge-like again, and it's alive and it's growing, and it just has so many properties, you know, from everything from your eliminating your cancer cells. It's one of the nutrients that are absorbed by the brain. So if you're having a lot of memory loss, the brain fog that's happening, even a lot of our women are starting to have issues, you know, with their hair particles. Along with men, you know, they're losing their hair, you know, all of that, because what happens is it targets the cell. And when it replenishes the cell, restores the cell, and once that's renewed and restored, that life form, whether it be your hair or whatever it is that you're looking to heal and rejuvenate and restore. Again, what I shared with you earlier, they communicate because it's life.
Right.
And life, consuming life, begets life. If you're eating death,
So life plus life
begets life. So if you're eating something that's dead and you're putting it into life, it's going to bring forth death at some point in incremental cycles.
Simple arithmetic.
It's so simple that people don't even understand that is true, but CMOS is powerful, and it has different forms of it. It depends upon, you know, what part of the world, like any other natural organism, depending upon the part of the world, would depict the type of CMOS that you're going to get. It may be purple, it may be a sand color, it may be a silvery gray, sometimes it looks blue, green, purple, yes, thank you. You know, it just comes in different forms, but again, it depends upon where it comes from the world, and it's definitely something I would encourage everyone to consume if you're anywhere between
Put your product on the table over here.
a child to where you're just weighing a few ounces up to about 180 pounds.
Okay.
You know, with the children, you know, pinch. You know, you rub it across their gums, right? With an adult, you know, a full-size adult, and you're anywhere between, I say, 100 pounds to 180 pounds, a teaspoonful, you know, or anywhere, if you're looking at milligrams, 300 to 600 milligrams, okay?
So this is once a day? Or?
Once a day. All you need is once a day. You're able to consume that. And if you're over 180 pounds, so 180 pounds to about 250 pounds, you want to do a teaspoonful, you know.
I got to lose a little weight so I could do the...
If you utilize that as a basic rubric, you'll know just how many more teaspoons that you would need to consume depending upon your weight, you know, and what's going on with you.
You can actually take it twice. You can take it in the morning and at night.
Well, that depends on, the reason why I say once a day, largely because, let's take someone like myself, whom I have what I call inoculations, because the body burns up so much during a 12-hour cycle, 24-hour cycle. So by the time tomorrow, I'm going to have to take all of those things all over again, you know, from your zinc, your fibers, your proteins, your magnesiums, and so on and so forth. These natural elements that the body requires to enrich what's already there, because all of those natural elements, strike that, most of the natural elements that you find in the earth are naturally occurring within the body, okay? And with, what's my thought?
So is it a lot of minerals in this?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's loaded down. You have, if I'm not mistaken, the body requires anywhere between, I think it's 112 or 114 minerals. And the CMOS has 92 minerals. So you can take this one something seeking minerals and have the majority of the minerals that the body requires and then some. Now, going back to my point, someone like myself, I wouldn't take it twice a day because I would oversaturate my system, because I don't consume the meat, I don't consume dead flesh. You follow what I'm saying? And I have a rhythmatic balance of a consumption intake that I consume. Now, for someone who's eating, they get up in the morning, they got their bacon, they got their sausage, they got their eggs, and for lunch, they got their burger, they got their mac and cheese, and a number of other things. They got macaroni and cheese, but get the pasta made from the right elements. Get the cheese made the right way. Season it with the right ingredients.
What you think about the plant-based meat stuff?
Oh, we did that.
I missed it.
We missed that one.
Plant-based products.
Beyond.
Like I shared earlier, we have another question, from the audience with that. A lot of those plant-based products that you find in the store are usually, and this is not 100% of the time, but they're usually processed vegan foods.
Yeah.
And for example, like your Morning Star, you're looking at those burgers. They have a product in it called whey. People will say, oh, that sounds like wheat. But not understanding that whey is just the watery substance when they pasteurize the cow's milk. It's just the watery substance they pull from the cow's milk during the pasteurization process. So in essence, you're eating meat from the whey. And people, they pass it off, especially in your training facilities. You want your whey protein. Run. It's not real protein. The protein is for what do they call it? The bovine, the cows. If you're a human, why are you sucking on a cow's milk?
Right.
Yeah.
Find someone who's still in the reproductive stage, and if you just want some milk like that, either get it from the nuts or from a woman's milk.
Okay, what about, now that don't sound bad.
If she's consuming what she needs to consume.
Oh, okay. What about almond milk and
Those are your nut.
Yeah, that's your nuts.
Those are your nut milks, your oat milks, and one of the simple ways to create that, and I'm going to give you, as they say, a milk hack. One of the ways that you're able to do that, whether it's going to be your nuts, whether it's going to be your oats, or what have you. In the case of your oats, you're able to go and get those oats. If you have a blender or if you have a food processor, take those oats, but make sure the oats are grown the right way, chemical-free, non-GMO. You want to make sure of that. If you're unable to find those two things, then seek out something that's organic. Even though sometimes they lie about what's organic, because the only thing that organic means is it's not grown with chemicals, but that's not always the case. So you have to read the ingredients and look at the labels to make sure. Bob Red Mills has a nice one, and I do always emphasize that, unless you're growing it yourself and you know what you have. But Bob Red Mills have done a bang-up job over the decades with making sure that their oats remain free and clear of chemicals. But if you take those oats and you can measure it, the rule that you can use, a cup per person. Okay? So you're able to take those oats, a cup per person, and you can either put it in a blender or you put it in your food processor and you allow it to mix and blend until it turns into a light powder. And you're able to take that powder, take a teapot. You don't have to boil the water. You just want to heat the water because you don't want to cook it, because you're going to cook the life out of it. You want the life to be there. So you want to heat the water in a teapot, okay? And then what you do, you take a container with a lid. Now you add your oats that you just turned into a nice powder. And then you add your water. You say, well, how much water per cup? Okay? You want 1 liter per cup of water. Again, that depends upon your palate. If you want it to be a stronger, more robust taste, then 2 cups per person per liter of water. And you're able to take that heated water, pour it in a container that you have a lid for, and you allow that to soak. And you let it soak overnight. Okay? Now, at that point, you're able to sweeten it, if you like, with agave. You have sugar cane, but make sure it's real sugar cane. You have sugar from beets. You can get sugar from apples. Any of your fruits, you can get your sugar from. Well, I don't advocate stevia because it's chemically based. It's not real sugar. But your other resources that you have that have naturally occurring sugar, that's there, you're able to utilize them. And at that time, you're able to season it, okay? Not season it, sweeten it. And if you want to add other things into it, like your cinnamon, make sure it's real cinnamon, again, chemical free. You're able to add that in at the time. And then once you have everything in there and you're able to stir it and blend it, never shake it because it's a living organism. And it's just like your body. And if you ever want to understand, why shouldn't I shake something? Imagine yourself. What is it like for you when you're shaken up? You're out of sorts, you're out of balance, and you need a minute to bring yourself down a thousand. These natural foods are the same way. They should be handled with care and delicacy. And the most that you want to do is stir or swirl. You let it sit overnight. You get you a cheesecloth, put over the top once you remove the lid the next day. You strain it, and there you have your milk at. You have your oat milk.
Well, we hope that you can be successful and do some classes over here to inform the youth, because we want to get some things, we want to get some of them real nuggets that they like to eat as chicken nuggets. We want to get some over here and have our youth taste them and see how the difference is eating natural things that they enjoy and want to have. And we want to give your number or email once again so that they can contact you. Ladies and gentlemen, please give Denise a nice round of applause, because she deserves what she did out here helping us with this health food. Give them that address.
Absolutely. You can connect with us at your wellness store, or you can look for us on Instagram. Just seek out our brand, The Vegan Chef. You can also look, I say this time next year, for Creative Tea to be here on the west side of Chicago at its newest location. We're in the process of expanding here, as well as in Las Vegas, Nevada. In addition to that, you're able to utilize Vegan Chef at Creative Tea, and it's like the tea you drink, TEA, cafe.com.
Say
and
that
our
one more
numbers
time.
are there on the site. Our email is vegan, VEGAN, chef, CHEF, at creative, common spelling, CREA, T as in Tom, I, V as in Victor, E, T like the tea you drink, TEA, cafe.com.
And we want to thank you once again, Miss Denise, and God bless you for the job that you have done, and He has blessed you with that gift. Isn't she lovely? Give her another round of applause, and we want to thank you for coming out today.